Jess.
Hi, Lauren.
Welcome to tonight's episode of Conspi-Reality.
Yes.
Woo-woo.
Hello to all of our new and existing listeners.
Yep. So we have a lot to get through per usual.
Oh, my God.
Bravo's just giving it all right now. Real Housewives of New York. We're going to start there. First, part one of the reunion.
Yep.
Then Salt Lake City. Then Beverly Hills. And then we'll go into the two Southerns. We'll save those for last.
Best for last.
Best for last. RHONY, though, I mean, for a season that literally had such low viewership, Jessica, like it's all anyone can talk about.
Right. And their numbers are skyrocketing at the
Right.
end. I don't know if it's enough to
Push them over the edge, right?
From the sounds of it, as we saw, they're promoting that they're interviewing, and so they're not like gonna do away with the franchise or anything,
Right.
but a revamp and a reshuffle is coming.
Right. And I mean, the burn of it all, right? Everyone is just talking about that like crazy.
Yeah.
But let's start with the looks. I think the reunion looks for this group of women is like amazing.
Minus Jenna.
Oh my God. Yeah. We already talked about that. We don't need to go in again.
Yeah.
Andy clearly like stands her. Like
Yeah.
Andy, like, I mean, they were out at the same party.
Yes.
I don't. And,
They are in the same circle.
yeah, clearly in the same circle. Yeah, totally. I saw something today that I thought was so funny. So Jenna Lyons was the she led the creative director for J. Crew, like
Yeah.
when we were growing up.
Yep.
And somebody said she's the exact reason why we all wore like corporate outfits out to the
Oh,
clubs.
yeah.
Because that was her whole style. Like, think of like how she wears clothes now, like
Yep.
the button downs.
Oh, so we have her to blame.
Yes,
Those
that
embarrassing throwback
like,
photos.
yeah, corporate world outfits out to the clubs.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, such a small thing. They didn't do too much of it, but you know when they show the glimpses of them arriving and starting to get ready, Jenna's was super quick, but they showed her getting out of like her black SUV, and she was in a white robe.
oh God,
So she changed into a black one for the. I was like, oh my God, you're literally wearing a robe to get ready in, and then you're putting a robe on
Right.
as your outfit.
So Andy kind of gives her a little shade. I think this is the most shade he would actually give her because they do run in the same circles, and he clearly like kisses her ass a little bit.
Yeah.
But on her partner Cass not being on the show,
Yeah.
Cass is a photographer. I looked her up a little bit. Her name's Cass Bird. I mean, he's being super nice to her, but I think like
It bothers him.
Yes.
He knows the viewer feedback is like, why do some housewives get to keep their personal lives off camera? So he is kind of like, Jenna, I don't know if this is going to like fly for much longer.
so crazy. And then we also get a quick hit on Raquel and her mom. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any progress was made after Puerto Rico,
No.
which is so crazy.
I know.
I thought it was so funny though that Andy was he like goes in hard at and he says the words extra lesbianic. He's like, you guys were being extra lesbianic in front of her mom, which we talked about that.
Yes. How like awkward it was. I don't know if I believe Jenna that she didn't know she was doing that.
I felt like she did only because she was showing like a little bit of like shame, I would say. But it's like, Jenna, get your head out of your butt. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
like don't do that in front of when it's so like weird with somebody and their mom and their parent.
And on that trip, Jenna and Raquel were sharing a room. Like, of anyone, she was probably
Right.
hearing even more from Raquel
Yeah.
about her mom and her relationship. So she, of all people, would have been very aware.
I'm just happy Andy called it out because it was like
Yeah.
so disrespectful in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we move to Brynn. So a couple things on Brynn. First of all, her outfit.
Ugh.
She was trying to give Zsa
Zsa
Gabor, which you can't be the most hated woman in America and come in with that outfit on. You needed something demure and mindful. Seriously, Jessica. She was coming in as like, look at me and like, look at this dress.
There's something that, like, I'm just mad at her that she has one of the best bodies. Girl, stop hiding it. I
Yeah.
want to see it. Give me a form-fitting, like, I could see her in, like, a mermaid style, just, like, bam. And it, like, bothers me that she's wearing something I would wear to hide underneath.
Yeah, she's like, she really tries to be old money, I think, in some of her looks, but it's like, this was more old lady. This was less like old money.
Yeah, the feathers at the end.
Right, and the hair and all that. But anyway, so she watches the episode day of.
couldn't get over that I think goes completely back to your point. She did not think things were going to air the way they did, that things were caught, that the fact that she wasn't like prepping and coming prepared for how that episode was going to make her look. You're so right. She was oblivious.
She should have had a PR team. Like, she should have come with notes. She should have come with receipts. She should have come way more prepared. She does have legs to stand on where people have called her names. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she can't, like, place it allows the narrative to continue that she's just a liar.
Right.
Because they have, remember, Aaron kind of says, like, when did I call you names? And they actually did a flashback.
And they cut it together very nicely.
6 different times. And it's like, but because Brynn isn't ready, she can't respond with that.
Right.
So it allows the women to just continue to, like, say she's a liar. Right?
Totally.
And then Brynn is oddly slouched on the couch, which the internet had a field day on this. Like, she wasn't she's not like sitting up straight.
It was almost like she already knew she was kind of
defeated,
going into defense mode.
And then oddly they touch on that like carbon monoxide quote.
Yeah.
Which, did you see that the internet completely found out that was from Luckiest Girl Alive? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Is that
Ashton Kutcher's wife?
Yes, Mila Kunis.
Yes. And she literally says that exact quote, I am carbon monoxide.
So she took it.
It from that. And which is just like so like Brynn, right? Of what we know of her.
Yeah.
Everything is so curated and stuff. And she literally wrote the quote out in a text message to all those women. And
it's like word for word from the movie.
Yes.
Oh my God. I thought you meant she just like referred to herself as carbon monoxide, that like actress in the movie. It's like actually like, I'm lethal.
The actress in the movie has the same dialogue as what Brynn uses in the text. Yeah, Jessica. That's why I'm like bringing it up to you. I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa. Okay, that's diabolical.
Because then she moves into, I'm quoting something from the periodic table. You're quoting something from Pixar.
Yeah. I was like, okay, she did prepare a little. There's no way that came off the top of her head.
It's like, oh my God.
I was a little zoned out, and I literally heard periodic table of elements. And I was like, I'm sorry, what is being talked
What are we talking about? Well, it's this whole thing that the internet like is totally on right now. We're like, I don't know if you remember, but the season 1, she acted like she really liked chess, and we went to a chess thing.
And she loved buying, was it antique books? Yes.
And she quotes the periodic table, you know.
Oh, she is so intelligent.
Yeah. And then Sai says the $1 million question that we're all literally waiting for, which is like, what do you do for your job?
Okay. Like, was that edited or literal? Like, or was Brynn so like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of explaining, but I was like, this is where... Fine, go into like corporate speak, lay it out there and go, you know what? I'm the investor of that is your moment. To her, then just go, your job. It was like, and you proved our point. Right. Nobody knows what you do.
She said, I do your job. Let's break this down really quick, because you and I have done a little bit of research on this to some extent, and we have a theory, right, at this point.
Yes.
And I've also looked on Reddit, and there's people who are starting to come out of the woodwork of being like, I know Brynn. So first of all, she's on LinkedIn and claims that she's freelance PR. Now, the thing I used to work in advertising. So the thing is that she's using, I told you this, she uses these terms, advertising, marketing, creative, PR, all interchangeably, which if you're from the industry, you know that they're not interchangeable. They all mean different things. So the fact that she uses them interchangeably just comes off as like a wrong
You're not
mistake.
You must not be in this world.
And I looked up like freelance PR, like, could she have good salary from that? Yes. Could she have the salary that drives the lifestyle that she's living, where she flies private? No, not at all. Not close.
And also, not to be like ageist, but she's not that old. So you don't get to charge those rates as a freelance if you don't have like the credentials to back it up. Someone in their 60s who's been doing that their whole, you know what I mean? Like she's too young
her
to
hourly
make that
rate
much
wouldn't warrant that. Right. I agree with that. And then she also sits on some boards, which those do usually pay, but they're not that much. So if you kind of put that all together, back to Jeff Lewis's point, she's probably being supplemented.
Yep.
And our theory is basically like, you know, either through escort or maybe just dating, definitely dated men who have supplemented her.
Yes.
And then Reddit, by the way, said this one poster who claimed to know Brynn said basically she's dated guys and they've just given her their credit card and she basically charges anything she wants and they pay for it.
Yeah.
She's dated 2 guys. One was Gideon, who we've seen.
Yep.
He's very wealthy. The other one before him was a billionaire, which is where I think her Russian billionaire comment comes from. She dated one guy and he was a billionaire.
Yeah.
And she was given his credit card. So I do think there was supplementing. I thought escort, maybe it's not that to that level, but
yeah. No, I'm sure in her mind it's just like, I'm in relationships.
Right.
And these guys are paying for... So, fair enough. I don't think she's getting a cash exchange for sleeping with this man on this date. It's like, it's not that level, but... it's a little gray.
Yeah. Right. It's I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Maybe a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then she says that weird comment, which they left in, which I thought was so shady of the editors, where Jenna's going to return the robe. Did you see this?
Yes. Okay. I the way I wrote it makes me sound like I'm so bougie, but again, to like in the realm of the Real Housewives and how rich they're supposed to be, it's only $1,500.
I know.
Okay, like I'm not saying $1,500 is something to sneeze at, but the fact that Jenna Lyons is saying it's $1,500,
Jess,
I
thought
need to
the
return.
Same thing.
I mean, tell me it's $20,000 and I'll go, oh, okay, I get it. Like you wore it once.
$1,500. I agree.
I was like, fucking keep it.
Great. And then Brynn drops that her dress was $7,000 and she paid for it herself.
Yeah. Or from a credit card she still had.
By paid for it yourself, you mean you swiped the credit card of the man that you still have.
The billionaire who isn't keeping track of all of his credit cards and kind of forgot you had one of his.
Or Gideon. That's his name, right? Gideon?
Gideon, yeah.
Yeah. So the other theory online was that Gideon actually still pays for a lot of her life because she's so crazy and manipulative that he thinks it's easier to just give a little payment on something than it is to like allow her to like self-combust.
Oh my God.
So who knows?
And that's why he's dragging his feet on...
Yeah, because Jessica, apparently there's this whole culture in life that we are not a part of, nor our husbands, where people just pay for women on like their lives.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like, what did we do wrong? Now, of course, it's Miami, it's New York. It's probably not like good old Midwestern Chicago.
By second or third date, I always felt like I kind of had to split.
I know. Okay, so then Andy and Jessel happened, which we texted about this.
And we love it. You know
we
what?
love it. So, first of all, Jessel tries to say she just got Botox done.
Yeah. Then she claims, Andy, I wasn't done talking.
Oh, all right.
No, there was like, I love how he's like, oh, so now is there a period at the end?
And we were talking about this, Jessica, and I think it's important to talk about here because I was really heated about this. Like, her face looks different.
Yes. When they do cutbacks, you're like, what the? I kind of forgot that's what she looked like.
You need to admit on camera when you've had work done.
Yes.
I think for the sake of society in the U.S. and women who are watching this who feel like they would love a glow up like Jessel, like to sit there and act like, literally I texted you this, that she grew new teeth. It's like, baby, you got veneers. Admit that. That should have been the first word out of your mouth. Botox and filler, like, they can do kind of magic with stuff on your face. Yeah. But the veneers were so obvious. And that's why Andy was like waiting for her to say it,
Yeah. But then I do think it was a little bit of an awkward situation because I do think Jessel was like, no, we had an agreement. And it was, I got it for free because I posted about it.
Right.
Which is all the more reason when people were getting upset at Andy going, are we not, like, this is 2025, we need to stop asking women about like work they've had done. No, Jessel literally posted about it
100%.
To get it paid for.
100%.
And we're not supposed to ask her about it?
Right.
Right. No, like we said, the authenticity needs to come back. I was way older. I don't even remember exactly when it hit me, but I was watching these shows for a long time. Just Bachelor, Bachelorette, all that stuff. It wasn't till way later that I realized a lot of women had fake hair and extensions. I just was like, why is my hair so thin?
Right.
It was like this dawning moment where I went, none of them have real hair. Oh my God. It's not like, I'm
right.
not ugly. I'm just poor. Have you seen that?
Right.
That
Seriously.
thing where it's like they show all the befores of the Kardashians. You're not ugly. You're just poor.
Well, that's like when Kylie Jenner, who clearly got lip fillers, tried to act as though her lip kit was the reason that her lips had gotten so big.
Yeah.
And it was the best marketing scheme. And it was kind of right before everyone on social media was like calling people out for this stuff. And it was like the best marketing scheme known to man, that she was suggesting that if you just bought her lip kit, that your lips would look like...
Your top lip will quadruple in size.
Right.
Like she had a pencil thin upper lip and then it blew up.
Anyway, so I mean, back to Jessel.
Yes.
I just think you got to say it, and you can't sit there and hide it. Also, by the way, the OG New York cast, like Ramona, do you remember in Ramona's final season, she became like 10 times more beautiful because she was getting so much work done.
Yeah.
And Andy would always ask her, and he'd be like, "You look amazing." And she'd be like, "I know." And she would say, "I got the work done."
I did a facelift. And Sonia would talk always about the stuff.
Even
She'd be like, "Got this pin back."
Yeah.
This.
And Andy would always say, "You look amazing."
Yeah.
Anyway.
But then we really end on the story Brynn brought up in Puerto Rico, that Jessel said the love of her life was some other guy and not Pavitt.
Yeah.
That was
rough.
rough.
And I like how Jessel's like, because Sai jumps in, "Did you catch this?" And she's like, "Oh, I want to apologize for that." It's like, no. You don't get to get off that easy on this stuff. And Jessel's like, "No, I want to speak." And it's like, "Go, Jessel, good."
Yeah.
But it's just the tip of the iceberg with Brynn, right? It's like one of the many things that Brynn has to apologize for. And again, I'm not sure why Brynn does not just come, like, this seems like it could have been easily squashed. You know what I mean? I don't think she apologizes that quickly. I don't remember an apology.
And that's what gets Jenna all heated.
Okay, so RHONY is happening tonight, part 2.
Yeah, just a 2-parter. Hey, they listened for once.
Yeah.
When we were saying this season cannot be a 3-part reunion.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't.
I just know that there's one clip coming up where Brynn's going, "It's getting too much," and she's crying.
Yeah.
It's like, Brynn, again, you needed to come in ready. You needed to come in much more ready than what you were.
And she normally is like quick and has got the comebacks, and I do think she couldn't handle everything coming at her because she wasn't prepared.
No.
And she did too much shit to own up to.
Yeah. And then when Jenna is clearly sitting next to her as her closest ally. It's like when Jenna turns on her, I think Jenna also acts as a little bit of like a mother kind of comfort to her.
Yeah.
I think that would just, have her hair stand on her
Right. Where
head.
she's like, "Oh my God, even Jenna thinks I'm in the wrong." Who's like always
kind of plays
let's see both sides and don't come for her. Be nice.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Let's go to that.
Yes.
Also part 1 of the reunion.
I think it's part 2 of theirs.
part 1, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because we talked about last week, Bronwyn really stole the show.
Oh, yeah.
Part 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so they talk a little bit about the Gwen situation. It may have started last week, but it finishes this week. The one thing that I agree with Lisa. So again, you talked about this last week. It's too hard to get through all the ticky tack with all this stuff. Yeah. But the one thing that Lisa ends on that I do agree with, and Bronwyn I think really got caught with her pants on this a couple of times, is that if you bring something up on camera, it lives on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore, like, kind of splitting hairs on this whole thing.
Yeah, because it really felt like Bronwyn was trying to pin it on Lisa after the fact that all of this is even being discussed. Mm-hmm. And Lisa's like, "You're the one at the end of a cast trip that goes, this is him." And you even had said you have never shown anyone that photo. So you show it to a castmate. Maybe they're not actively filming that second, but you're coming back from a trip. Like, you're all together.
I think she brought it up, though, on camera just when it was her and Lisa at that spa. I think she brought it up again to Lisa. Yeah,
because she had done it kind of off camera. She then talked about it. So, again, I'm normally not Team Lisa, but this is where I'm like, Bronwyn, you did bring this to the table.
And then you're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, as Bethany Frankel used to try and say, right? It's like, you can't do that. I think there's a variety of things that I wonder how she'll act next season, because she brought up a variety of things on camera that I think are really hard to walk back, and like
the stuff with Todd
and his affair.
Yep, that gets okay. That's a little further on, but yeah.
So then we go to Meredith and the
Sean and Angie.
the fact that Andy literally yells out, "This is a huge waste of time," is iconic.
Lauren,
Jessica.
I wrote, the fact that Andy doesn't give a shit about this is gold. And it's Meredith's entire storyline. And Andy's like, I don't care. And how interesting, because it's all about using her gay son. You know, like, you'd kind of think Andy would be a little bit more like, yeah, let's talk about how this plays out. And he's like, I don't care.
Well, he also blames the podcaster, if you remember. He's like, the podcaster led him.
Yeah.
And Meredith kind of stands up and like gets ready to storm out. I'm like, Meredith, you are sitting at the end of the couch. Your storyline just got blown up by the host that everybody likes. Yeah. You have maybe one more thing that you can talk about. If you walk out, I don't see how this is like, you know, people are going to want to bring you back. You're demoting yourself in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was hilarious. But then she was like, play the audio. And they did end up showing it. So Meredith got her way. But Andy was like, sit down. We are agreeing with you, Meredith. Like, if you just listen.
The person that actually stands out to me as someone who's like quite calm is Sean. He like does a really good job of like just being like normal about it.
Yeah.
Angie like, you know, gets really hot. And then, I don't know, just for Meredith to stand up. Did you see that Seth stood up? Like,
he was like standing like, do I go with her?
He was like, okay, if she's going, I'm going. Yeah, but I'm not sure what she's doing.
That was
so
funny. Yeah. He was so like deer in headlights. He was waiting to see what happened. Because you know he loves being, I think Seth loves the camera a bit, so he's probably like, Meredith, sit down, I want to be here longer.
Well, he's also quite comedic. Like, he always brings like comedic relief, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment, it's like he doesn't know like how to be.
Yeah.
Because this is not his normal of like being dramatic and storming off. He's usually the one cracking the joke.
Yeah.
I think they brought the husbands out way too early.
But I do think the husbands were more involved at the beginning, like the couples trip and that engagement party when they were going at it, and then we really didn't see them the rest
But don't you think it changes the tone when the husbands are brought out?
Yeah, 100%.
So this is what I was trying to say. Whitney has basically apologizes to John and Lisa about the rumor on the text message.
Yes.
And she's only apologizing because John is out there.
Yeah.
Like, I think the women are all much more accountable when their husbands are out.
Yes.
What did you think of the biatch comment that they hit on with Steph and Whitney?
It just, I mean, again, the comedic relief. He kind of gets away with not really. It was such a sorry but, because he goes, there is no excuse for name calling, but I use that term in my everyday life. Like, it doesn't even mean anything mean to me. Like, it was just, I do think he admitted to cringing, because I remember being like, that is so awkward. Like, it's one of those things you rewatch and you're like, why did I say that?
Yeah. Oh, they talked a little bit about how he's got that girl in Ohio.
Oh, there's rumors.
I think that's true, Jessica.
Yeah. And I could also just see Meredith being okay with it.
Kinda.
Like, I don't see it as being a total, like,
especially because she kind of seemed to have that at one point.
I wonder if there is a bit of an agreement.
Okay, so then we move to the affair.
Oh, again.
With Todd and Bronwyn.
Bronwyn not looking good.
No, and Heather, I thought everybody like agreed. Either on the boat was fake, and that shouldn't have been said in the way it was, or this is fake. One of the two.
Right. This is where she does come across horribly, and I am seeing more where this frustration with Bronwyn is, where she really says one thing and then quickly like runs to somebody else and says it this way, and then is like, what, when you like come at her.
That's the other thing about Bronwyn. It's like, it seems like there's what happened and then what she told Todd, and she's kind of trying to like have one foot on each side of the the moat. And Todd is like, I don't know, to me his face is like revealing it all. I think they had a camera just like on him the entire time.
Camera 4, stay on Todd. So we can cut to any reaction we need.
Bronwyn, the one thing is, I mean, she's clearly coming back, right? I think she's going to have, my prediction is she's going to have one more season and she's going to be off, because she's going to so course correct Jessica from what she did this season that she's not going to have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
Todd's not letting her back without like some big contract that he's going to make her sign that's like, and you're not going to speak about this, and you're not going to speak about that, and nothing about me and my business. You know,
right?
She's coming back a different person, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Okay, so Mary and Robert Jr., they talk about that. Mary, I think, I don't know who she paid to get such a good edit this season. We've talked about this before.
You don't want to pull an Uber and say who did she sleep with to get such a good.
I mean, the fact that she's before Bronwyn on the couch, which we've talked about this, and Bronwyn has most of the plot.
Yeah, I kind of think Bronwyn had more than Angie.
Yeah, right.
Like literally, she might have been first chair, but anyway. Yeah, this, okay, whatever. We've already gotten in trouble talking about it, but I'm sorry. This whole Mary Robert Jr., I think a little bit more comes out where, and I agree. She said, we said to each other, we're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So they did this was not a total natural knock on your door. You're not expecting your mom to come in with a cameraman. So they did agree. So fine. They kind of maybe got to collect their thoughts a little ahead of time. And yes, I am sure this has been so like eye-opening, and maybe it did lead to conversations for some families. But I mean, to quote Whitney to quote Lisa accusing Sean of it, it becomes this circle jerk moment.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Heather, I got to have the most beautiful conversations with my daughters. Whitney, I got to explain why their grandfather isn't in their life. And like, the only person who didn't cry, Meredith.
Yeah.
Meredith did not seem very moved.
Well, knowing Meredith, she's putting a lot of logic to this moment where she had a nephew, if you remember, which was brought up. I'm not like saying something that, you know, we dug up, but she had a nephew who had drug situation. Her son has probably gone through a lot from coming out and being gay, right? And like, so you just know Meredith is sitting there logically trying to be like, nobody showed me this much support during X, Y, and Z thing. God, Meredith is like so predictable like that.
Meredith said too much work done, she can't cry. She removed her tear ducts.
To me, there's something going on with Mary. Like, the conspiracy I have with Mary, and you've, I think, said this, is that they want to keep her on. The producers want to keep her on until the church lawsuits come out.
Yeah.
They have to make her feel good.
Those are
working
through the courts. They're like, let's hype Mary up.
Let's give her a second chair on the couch.
That's so true.
You know, because why? Why is this?
Yeah.
Why is Mary receiving so much love? She's actually been quite offensive in the past.
Yeah. I know. No, it'll be so interesting. It's like, can those lawsuits like hurry up? I need to know what's happening there.
Meredith also comes with notes, like she pulls it up on her phone.
And all the names she's been called.
And that's what Bryn should have done.
Yeah.
Jessica, that's literally, take a page out of the lawyer's notes. That's what Bryn should have done.
We come to our podcast with notes.
Yes.
Like, if I'm on a frickin' show, I'm coming to my reunion with notes.
Also, I learned something from Meredith that I'm going to start using, like, with my husband when we're fighting, is she always takes apart the question first. I think Andy said to her, why was there a breakdown in the friendship between her and Mary? And Meredith goes, I wouldn't call it a breakdown. She, like, takes apart the question before she responds to it, which is why I'm going to start using that, like, when I'm mad at someone. I'm going to be like, I wouldn't call it dishes left in the sink. I would call it a dish. Like, just like it disarms, I think, to like take apart the question.
Just reframe it. Yeah.
Any other notes on Salt Lake?
We're getting part 3 and final. So yeah, this week is our final week of RHONY and Salt Lake City. We're getting the final reunions for both. Gosh. We're about to have a tiny bit of free time, except that Summer House starts next week.
Which we got to watch that because the Paige of it all.
Mandatory viewing.
Which, speaking of Paige, let's touch on that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounds like that on Giggly Squatch, she has revealed.
I know, I haven't listened yet, but I've read the summaries of what's going on.
So she revealed first that Greg and her broke up on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Not
that she broke up, as we suspect.
Right, as we suspect.
This was Paige-led.
And Craig asked her to keep it a secret.
Which is so weird.
So weird. I don't know if I could do that.
And the fact that he then went on his press tour for the new season of Southern Charm and acted like they were together.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I don't think I would have been okay with that if
No.
I were Paige, because I'd be like, no, I get that you maybe, honestly, also amazing press for Southern Charm.
Yeah.
If on the tour he had dropped, we actually are no longer together.
Agreed.
But I get that he didn't want it to then just be about that, but I would not have been able to fake through that press tour.
I would have had a slip up. Like, even if I wanted to fake it, I would have said, well, we're not together anymore, but whoops.
And someone's like, excuse me? Record scratch? Yeah.
And then the last thing she said was that basically the reason why it then got pushed out was because Craig was on a trip where he was presenting as single.
So she went, hey, I'm going to make this public. And then he never responded. So she did on Giggly Squad.
Which the whole point of this is just to say that weird little Eagles game date.
Yeah.
Clearly there was no cheating because they had broken up almost a month prior.
Yeah. But yeah, I say it to you? I was like, oh, I don't think this breakup is staying so amicable.
No. Because Kyle and, did you see Kyle and Amanda also... They were on a podcast.
I didn't watch, but I know they're starting to do the Summer House press tour.
It wasn't like they said anything massively weird, but Amanda, Paige has really gone hard for Amanda in the past and stood up for her and pushed for her or whatever. And Amanda...
Usually against Kyle. But...
Yeah, right. Her
against
husband.
her own husband, but yeah.
But Amanda kind of suggests Craig was trying to make it seem like it was, all Paige, and it wasn't that. She just implied it, right? She just kind of implied it. Okay. And... apparently Craig unfollowed both of them after, which is
did he didn't need much after the whole Kyle and him with the spritz and Loverboy.
Agreed.
He was like, oh, I can't wait to drop. I can stop pretending I like Kyle after I break up.
But to your point, it's going there. It's gonna keep getting messy, which we're here for it.
Yep.
Okay, so Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's see, they just got done with the spa experience.
Yes, it seems like the day after.
Yeah,
and Kyle is just so
she's
rattled.
rallying the troops, right?
Yes. Yeah. I felt a little for her, she is literally bumbling around this huge house, and she's so bored.
Yeah.
I think it's all dawning on her that this divorce is kind of poorly timed with her kids getting so old and out the house. Portia now drives. Yeah. She's just gone.
Oh, and she tried to invite herself to their daughter lunch.
Yeah. I was like, oh, sad. She's like, can you tell me where?
The part that doesn't track for me just is Kyle Richards is a socialite in LA. So the fact that she has nothing to do.
I know.
It's if Kyle has nothing to do, I have nothing.
Negative plans.
Holy moly. So Bose and Dorit, they kind of meet up.
Yes.
They are really loving each other on social media.
Oh my god, they're so obsessed.
The birthday
post.
Bose had a birthday and Dorit kind of commented on it, and it's really mushy.
Yeah. And then Bose writes back another mushy thing.
And they're both clearly crying when they write it. Also, they took a bunch of pictures at Bose's birthday, and their hand placement is just so weird, Jessica. For those who haven't seen the post, basically Bose has a birthday and Dorit attends, and then there's all these
and this is
posts.
Present day.
Yeah. But Bose's hand is kind of on Dorit's leg. Dorit's hand is placed on Bose's leg.
Yeah.
All I can think, I would never do that to you. Let me just say that. If we took a picture, I would never place my hand on your kind of inner thigh leg.
Yeah.
It's just, I think a photographer said, can you put your hand there?
Yeah.
Because it's just so weird in these posts. It's overly friendly.
Are they trying to start a Kyle Morgan Wade
kind of
storyline?
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. But I think it was a photographer because Bose probably had one for her birthday. But anyway, so we get this realization that Dorit shares that basically the sponsor was the person who kind of suggested that her and PK need to separate.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say on the after show, Dorit said that PK actually had to get rid of that sponsor because not only did the sponsor overstep in that moment, which PK was on board with because he wanted the sponsor to speak and get them to separate, but then the sponsor apparently later on overstepped when it came to Dorit and PK's kids and was intervening with the kids.
Okay, yeah. Like, this isn't your legal counsel. That seems, not that I know anything about what, like, sobriety sponsors are supposed to do, but that does seem way too much.
It's his AA sponsor.
Yeah.
Jessica. Like, why are you going off book? Like, you just stick to the plan, which is that
they're still trying to chase a high, and for them it's like tea and gossip.
Right.
And they're like going for it. They're like, I'm going to get so invested in your divorce.
So Bose, honestly, and Dorit are like still besties. And I just want to say one thing about Bose. Like, I love Bose. The fact that she can endure Dorit's long stories and like the pregnant pauses that Dorit has, I like truly respect her, and like makes me want to be a better listener, because Dorit's stories are really long-winded.
Bose even said that. She goes, Dorit likes to talk and I like to listen.
So then we go to the Kyle lunch.
Oh, yes.
Pre-larger get-together.
Yes, the rallying of the troops.
I mean, Sutton comes to swinging again. But Sutton now is like nerdy. Like her trying to like put Kyle in her place, trying to put Dorit in her place is like dorky. It's like not done in this cool, like smooth way.
No, not at all.
The fact that she's like pushing Kyle so hard to say, why are you apologizing? Like specifically, it's like, Sutton,
I know.
I'm like hiding under the table.
Like, Sutton, I'd love someone to quiz you on exactly what you said when you've had 8 of your vodka grapefruit drinks. Like,
I know.
As if you could remember word for word or, like, exactly what you did.
It's so weird. And I think she thinks she's, like...
She thinks she's doing something.
Like, being a boss bitch, you know, like, holding Kyle accountable for the first time ever. Kyle Richards. It's like... There's a line, Sutton, and you've crossed it. It's really cringy.
And then she continues to put foot in mouth when Dorit is mid talking about her,
oh my God,
her son asking if she's getting divorced, and Sutton's like, we gotta go.
Sutton on the after show said she doesn't regret doing that.
Oh wow, doubling down.
Because she was trying to fight for Garcelle basically, and Dorit has these super long stories, and she was trying to make sure that basically they would be on time to Garcelle's. So she just truly feels like she did nothing wrong there.
Dorit's stories are so long, they will literally make you extremely late to a social event if you let her talk and no one cuts her off.
Okay, Garcelle's beach house. So we continue to see this.
I saw such a funny Instagram, and it's so true, where they were like, oh, how our standards have fallen. We used to have like Adrienne Maloof, Lisa Vanderpump. We were flying on private jets to go see the basketball games that they were the owners of. And they go, I'm supposed to be impressed by Garcelle's raggedy ass beach house.
Oh, man.
Did you see when they rode the golf carts? I tried to figure out maybe where on Google Maps it was. They rode the golf carts to the beach down this path. I think they were next to an airport.
Oh my God.
Did you see the fence?
Oh my God.
Huge fence. And I was like, I think that's an airport.
Oh Lord.
And I mean, she's nowhere near beachfront. They had to take a golf cart there. Don't get me wrong. Anyone who wants to gift me a house near a beach, I will accept. I do not own one, but
also, I mean, Kyle said this, and I kind of agree on the after show, like that people always push her to like come with more info in her life. But Kyle basically says, like, Garcelle comes with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which the beach house, it's like, that's showing something you're proud of. That's not showing us about your life.
Yeah. Because that's all Garcelle had going on, that she was building a beach house.
Right. And I also, Jessica, I mean, I'm tired of the stuff eating on the beach. I'm tired of any housewife show.
They love the pillows at the low table.
And it's always windy as AF. It's always cold. People always have like blankets on their heads. Yeah. Or like they're like clearly irritated. I'm like done.
Housewives love the beach picnic.
I'm done with it. I'm done with the beach picnic. Yeah. Or you know what production needs to do? They need to get a freaking wind blocker and set that puppy up off camera.
Maybe it was the exhaust from the planes at the airport over to the side that was blowing them away.
The planes are taking off.
But I was dying when they were trying to set off their wishes. I mean, that was like fun.
It was super funny.
And the guy chasing them down for them so he wasn't like littering. I was laughing, and Kyle was like, I'm peeing. Like, jeez.
My issue with that stupid wish launch thing is like that the wishes look, the container looked cloth. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, how was that ever going to work? If he's running after it because he's like, oh, I don't want to litter.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a biodegradable thing. It seemed like it was a cloth, like, lantern.
Great point. Is that how the wildfires started?
Yeah, right.
Are we hoping that lands in the ocean to, like,
how is that going to disintegrate?
Right.
Were you going to go after and collect it? So weird.
So for the best, they didn't take off.
So on the after show, a couple of things. One is Erica and Sutton cannot get on Raya.
Oh.
So
why?
Raya like has come up across like all these different
which
franchises.
we've just heard Craig is on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Craig's on Raya.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason Raya is like is a dating app for those that don't know, for millionaires or for like super wealthy people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, super famous people.
Yeah, and you have to get verified and
right,
blah,
and
blah.
That's how Shep and Sienna met, right?
Oh,
but Erica and Sutton, for some reason, like they're getting blocked. Like they're not like, I don't know, celebrity enough.
Well, do you have to be hot? Maybe that's why Sutton's hot. But I think the final thing was from the beach is it seems Kyle and Dorit have squashed.
Oh yeah.
Does that stay? I don't know. At least we got the mid-season trailer.
Yeah.
It appears we don't see any more of them arguing, at least.
But to me, it just seems like Kyle is ending her smear campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kyle even says, "Can we go talk to Dorit?" And Dorit speaks first, and it's like, I wish Dorit would have let Kyle speak to like actually say, "What did you want to talk about?"
What do you want to apologize for?
But instead, Dorit pipes in and kind of mends it all for them on behalf of them. Yeah. I just think Kyle has never been in this moment where she's like, it's not going well for me.
Yeah, I do think I need to just give up on this feud.
Right, mend some relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, so Southern Charm up next.
Southern Charm.
So one of the things is that we saw a picture of JT online. He does not look well.
He doesn't look healthy.
No.
Because he wasn't overweight in the slightest, and he's, like, lost weight. And
do you think that's maybe because of stress?
Maybe. His face was so gaunt.
Gaunt. Yeah. It looks like a different person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get JT. He's telling his mom that he's moving back to his grade school friends because no one likes him in this group. And then still, we see a date between Venita and JT.
If you can call it that. I mean, how awkward that then... Okay, I will say we were like missold on this whole storyline. Everyone claimed that JT was dating Venita and she didn't find out till it wrapped.
Yeah.
He right away said to her, I have a girlfriend.
Jessica, I think literally what happened is he's got this girlfriend on camera. He then breaks up with her, starts dating Venita, and then Venita, and he comes back with another girlfriend. You think it's the same girl?
Oh, I don't know. I guess, weirdly, I gave JT the benefit of the doubt here, and I was like, you know what? He was actually a lot more forthcoming, and I don't think Venita's been duped much.
I think there was 3 different women, which is shocking for JT.
Also, with how much they talk about Charleston being so small, how does Venita not know that he's seeing someone? Like, that's where I don't... Like, they all know everything about each other. How does he have secret relationships?
Well, and then the last thing is kind of like the fact that he says to Venita, I'm attracted to you. Any girl worth their salt would have been like, we're done.
Yeah.
On camera.
I mean, I was just so uncomfortable during it all. I, like, can't get over how, like, schoolgirl Venita gets around.
Oh, that was so cringy. I'm like, Venita, how old are you? I had to look up how old she was.
How old is she?
32.
Oh. And how old is he?
38.
Okay.
So he's a little older.
Yeah. Oh, 32. Wow, Venita's actually a little older than I thought.
Yeah. Because she comes off very young.
Yeah.
Like naive.
I thought like 28.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then we also see that Shep and Austin have lunch, and Shep basically reveals that he's getting ghosted by Sienna. I mean, this is karmic retribution.
I mean, talk about a taste of your own medicine.
There's got to be women across America who literally are like, thank God,
yeah,
clapping at the screen.
They stood up and round of applause when they heard that Sienna was doing this to him. I love it.
And then he's only met her 3 times, Jessica.
I know. When Austin's like, how do you love someone after like 3 hangouts?
To me, honestly, it's because of the Bahamas. Like, for some reason, Shep is obsessed with the Bahamas.
No, he is like viewing his... I mean, I was about to say retirement. He doesn't really work, but you know what I mean? mean? Like, he was like envisioning the rest of his life. Like, yes, this is how I will spend my millions. I'm going to go get this sick house. I'm going to finally settle down with this hot young thing in the Bahamas. Yeah. He fell in love with the idea of it all.
With the vision in his head. This is crazy to me. Like, Sienna, I mean, she's beautiful, she seems lovely, but this does not seem like she's got some secret sauce, you know. No. I feel like he just loves Bahamas. And then we figure out that her grandma is the president of the Southern Charm fan club in the Bahamas, and that she tried for Whitney first. Jessica,
who knew there was a Southern Charm fan club in the Bahamas, let alone in general?
And that there's the president of it. Okay, but can we talk about that? Whitney literally like is holding down such gossip every single season.
Every time.
And why do women even try with him?
I don't know.
Why is he why? Like, Taylor sent him the nudie shot?
Yep.
Why?
It's the money. I think they're all like, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Like,
remember Naomi and him dated briefly too? Like, why is he even?
Because I think he is so weird too.
And do you think they all just think like that he is such a weirdo, but he's got a ton of money, so maybe like, you know, he's a nice. He'll treat them nice, and then they'll be able to like
do their own thing.
Yeah.
I literally there's something.
He's, for somebody who literally seems like you could care less he's being filmed, he's woven so tightly into like a lot of the plot line. Every single season. And
then he tells his mother, and it's like he knows she's gonna share it. That's like him wanting the secret to get out there, when he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna tell my mom. I know Miss Pat will tell.
But then I think he always says to his mom, don't say anything.
Yeah.
And then she always says something.
Yeah. And she's like, Whitney'll kill me.
It's so funny. I'm shocked by that. I think they need to pay Whitney more, and I think they need to get him, like, he should be, if the Southern Charm cast held a snowflake, you know, he would be center. Jessica, he's like the most underrated main character.
Yeah. Center snowflake. What would they hold in Charleston? Like a
peach or
a
something?
Lobster or like an oyster. It'd be seafood.
So what do we think about this, Sienna? Like, do you think it's a problem that she swiped right on Austin, that she approached Whitney first?
100%.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, how turned off would you be if you found out you were like the third? Like, it's like, oh, you have a type, and it seems like you're focusing in on people on my show.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that fell for it.
The only thing I would say is, like, Austin, Shep, they're both tall, they're both Southern, they're both lovely, they're both nice. Like, I would date either one of them in my 20s.
Yeah, 100%.
Whitney is the one that is the...
no-go.
He's the one that makes this all feel...
He's the one whose credit card I would try to just get a hold of and see if he didn't notice any expenses coming through.
And then you tell everyone that you're freelance PR.
PR, yeah.
But he's the one of, like, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, he's the reason why you know that she's just a fan.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Which, that's a weird little twist that we're now going to have to endure, like, moving forward.
And can we also just remember that is a 30 age difference.
Between Shep and her?
No, she's low 20s. Whitney is in his 50s.
Oh,
like,
right.
30-year age gap.
Right. So, and then also everyone's kind of alluding to the fact that Molly and Shep might be good together. Why don't Molly and Craig date? Because they were sending each other sexy texts.
I do not see them together.
I know, but they were sending each other sexy texts.
I agree.
So there's a little groundwork already laid.
They've seen each other's bits, it seems.
Yeah, right. But what people are saying online, I don't know if you saw this, that Craig and the woman who just broke up with Matt James.
Oh, Rachel. Kirkconnell.
Kirkconnell, yes. Yeah. Which I'm like, let's not just throw names around people.
Well, if he likes brunettes, she's a very pretty, skinny brunette.
I think Southern, too.
Oh, that I didn't know.
So she'd actually live in the area that he wants to settle down in.
Okay.
Okay, the last thing.
And she wants to get married. That was the thing. That guy broke up with her because he wasn't ready.
Right.
And Craig got dumped because his girlfriend wasn't ready. So, you know what? I don't hate it.
Last thing is Shep, Austin, Craig lunch to break up. And then Craig oddly brings Shep as the mediator.
To sell the podcast. Oh, my God, though. Can we talk about how I completely agree with Austin nothing would bother me more than when someone would bring someone else and I thought we were meeting one-on-one. That, like, does bother me. It happens way more when you're younger, when it's like, oh, the more the merrier. It's like, just tell me you're bringing your coworker,
right?
Like, to happy hour. You know, you're like, what the? I thought I was just catching up with you, and now it changes the dynamic.
I would love to see Craig, now broken up, watch this episode. I would love to watch his face as this all comes about, because, I mean, good Lord, this is going to age like sour milk. Like, the fact that he's so not giving enough to their relationship. I'm never going to be your drinking buddy again. I bet you he's drinking with them right now.
Yeah. Would love to know.
Actually, I don't think that's happening, because I think Austin was on a podcast that said he was just shocked as anyone about the breakup. He heard about it when everybody else did.
Oh, so not that close.
Anyway, anything else on Southern Charm?
No, it's like it's picking up a little, but it's not slapping this season.
There's always something that's good tea, which is like Shep's girlfriend is the good tea right now.
Right now, yeah.
And then I think we're all watching because we know Craig and Paige broke up, right?
Yes.
We can kind of see that.
Yeah, we're watching for clues that have been there all along.
Oh, yeah, good way to say it. Okay, lastly, Southern Hospitality.
Yes.
So we start with Joe and the TJ convo.
I didn't get what I wanted out of that.
It seemed like there was going to be more salacious details dropped, and instead Joe kind of handled it pretty well. I thought he handled it very maturely.
Yeah.
And it smoothed over.
But that was boring. Why did he handle it maturely? I wanted immaturely.
Yeah. Agreed.
I am glad, like, they're gonna be back to buddy-buddy.
Yeah.
That was one of those, like, them not speaking. I didn't, like, love then at the group things, the animosity between them. So I am, in that sense, glad they've rekindled.
Right. And so then we also have Emmy and Will, who are on the boat together. They go on a date.
Do you think Emmy thought she was being proposed to on that boat? It was a bit romantic for just a date night, wasn't it?
Well, did you like how I thought this was this is like a pretty rude thing, and maybe it's just because I'm a girl, but Emmy like didn't care at all when she said, I look like I'm going to prom, and you look like, and he's like, I think it's the eye makeup. And my husband said that to me after clearly she had put so much effort into
looking good.
And he said, I think it's the eye makeup is a little heavier, like implied it.
You're
I'd be like,
you weren't supposed to agree. You were supposed to say, you look great.
I would have been like,
Well, there were a few things. And then on that boat where he made, I forget how he said it, but it was something like, you're like the woman I want to marry.
I want a hot wife like you.
Like you, not you. Yeah.
That to me is like,
it slips out. It's all subconscious, but that is how he feels, especially when he called her Emily.
Yeah, in the confessional.
Yeah.
And Emmy says on camera, Jessica, this is like...
I know the quote you're going to do.
That Will kisses the ground that I walk on.
Yeah. Nope, don't think he does.
Even if he did, do not say that. Do not say that on national TV.
No.
Like, don't.
And when she's like, I know exactly what you alluded to. I know people think Southern women that is not me. I was like, no, this is to a T. That is you right now. You are not believing anything
and
anyone
we
says.
know that you know that this is what's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Emmy. But she no-call, no-shows. I don't know if that's the same night. They didn't make it crystal clear if it was her out on the boat and then her and Will go to dinner.
Jessica, yes.
Is it supposed to be that same night where they're like, guess who just walked by?
And that's why they're so enraged, because then she walks by there on a date night, and then she had posted it on social media.
Yeah, that was very F you to all of her coworkers. Like, they all follow you, and they know if you post a story, they're going to all watch, and you're just going, I'm out to dinner.
Yeah. I mean, and then I love how she's like, well, Leva knew. And Leva's like, I didn't know.
We get one clip of Leva. Leva's going, I was not notified. And they're like, and Leva goes, I'm the owner. I'm not dealing with attendance. Like, that is for the manager, Michaels.
Well, the thing, too, that's so crazy with this is, like, this is beyond just reality TV. It's beyond producer plotline. The fact that she walks past her place of work. I mean, the producers didn't even run out and catch it.
They didn't even catch her.
The fact that she does that, something is wrong with this girl. You know what I mean? There's some element of unhinged with her that is crazy because
Yeah.
you didn't need to do that.
No.
You could have gotten there just with the social media post of like, oh, I'm out to dinner.
That would have
The
been
fact that you
discussed.
walked by your place of work.
Yeah. And go, you don't see me.
I mean, I've called in sick before, like in our summer jobs, like
Yeah.
in high school, and you actively avoid the place.
Terrified of being seen.
I pick my husband up from work and he's like, quick. That's my boss over there. Like, get down. Like, you are actively avoiding it.
It's like people that like are at a sporting event and they're like, don't put me on the Jumbotron. I called in sick.
And she's dancing right in front of it,
Yes,
you know?
I know.
Okay, and then TJ with the hot dogs. Like, I'm not sure I care about the storyline at all.
But okay, aren't you, and I had a little bit the feeling of you are the one that always says if you are on TV, you gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was, and I think TJ is like the oldest of this group.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, okay, he can't be a bartender forever at Republic.
He's trying.
I'm glad he's trying something. But I agree, it was very half-assed, and he's literally like using the head chef, and Leva has a million questions for him that he's like, I was just gonna get through this event, and then how does no one like the way I would be prepared if Leva was willing to have a meeting with me and I wanted to talk a business idea with her.
And then you basically used the head chef to do free work.
Yeah. And you're using her resources. Not a good look.
I mean, Lisa Vanderpump, though, this is a page out of Lisa Vanderpump's book, because if you remember back in the VPR days, like, she would always allow those kids to like use her space, use her blah blah blah
for like launch events.
Yes, and Stassi was a planner for her.
Yes.
Remember, like, she gave all those kids. Katie was her assistant.
Yep,
she gave them all.
That's very true.
Legs up. But Leva is like clearly annoyed. She can't like keep the face like Lisa Vanderpump could. She's like really like you can't afford him. You can't afford him.
Yeah.
She said it twice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say no Grace Lilly, nowhere to be found, but we do get a bit of her. She's gonna sing or perform for Maddie
allegedly
in Vegas.
But it looks like she sleeps in.
Yeah, right.
In the preview clip. Yeah, she has been like, that's the thing. So remember when we were first talking about Emmy's weird demotion, suddenly she's back at, it's proof. Grace Lilly doesn't work there anymore. You're not on the show.
No.
Like, you're just done.
You needed to be dating someone, or you need to like get yourself in the mix.
She's only kind of friends with Maddie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Big bomb, though, that gets dropped at the end of the episode is that Austin character.
Yeah.
I was waiting for why
is he here? What is he about to bring?
He doesn't even go here. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, who are you again? And then he drops the bomb that Will has hard cheated, he said, which I assume means
cheated.
effed a girl at law school.
Yes.
The reason why this is credible is because it's Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone else, it would have been like, you know, what motive do you have?
And like he said, he's like, I bumped into these people who are very like genuine and they have nothing to gain from this.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the second I start to not believe is when, oh, that person suddenly wants to be on camera and filmed. There was someone last season of Southern Hospitality, a girl that, the girl that said she hooked up with Maddie's pedicab boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, and oh, she's a client of Bradley's, you know, personal training. I was like, oh, she's trying to work her way into this cast.
100%.
So I was like a little more suspicious of her. But the fact, if these people never show their face, these law school friends that have dropped this, I fully believe them.
The one thing we're missing is Kristen, Crazy Kristen.
Oh, yeah.
And how she brought the Miami girl in. We just are missing who's that person in this cast.
I feel like it's Mia who's been doing her beauty pageant.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's gonna like make an appearance. It sounds like she did the thing, didn't place very well, and now she's coming back. I think Mia is the one that like will find the person.
We need somebody, right?
Yeah,
to
I
get the
think
girl.
Mia.
Find Emily. That's the task. Yes.
She will be trolling LinkedIn. Emily's at that law school.
I briefly tried, Jessica. I briefly tried to find Emily at, you know, where he goes to Southern Charleston Law School or something like that. I've tried.
Somewhere out of
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Yeah, USC. Good.
All right, Jessica, what are the kids talking about these days?
Yeah, just one we've never really touched on, but Gen Z is far less likely to be atheists than parents and grandparents, a new study reveals. So I will caveat that I think they're kind of calling it spiritual falls under there, which we know is a kind of a loose term. But yeah, just a small study done of about 10,000 people. But they found that only 13% of under 25-year-olds were self-identified themselves as atheists, whereas 62% of 18 to 24-year-olds said they are very or fairly spiritual. So thought that was interesting, and they were like, well, you know, churches and all that don't need to celebrate just yet because they still hate those kind of organizations. It's very loose with what they're following. And they were, okay, this is where I was like, I'm sorry, can't you be an atheist and still be into astrology? Like, they're trying to say that people, I was like, those two don't like equate.
Well, I was going to say to you, I think they're spiritual because manifestations has skyrocketed, I think, because of social media.
Yeah. Oh, it literally talks about the amount you see now of your zodiac sign and do a vision board and will it into existence.
Right. Because you have some, you know, scam artists out there who said, I just manifested this and here's what you have to say, right? Yeah. If you listen to this tone, have you heard social media like that? If you listen to this tone, you will open up a chakra inside of you and blah, 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 blah. Like, and then you have all the astrologists like, this day, this month is the moment that you'll be the luckiest. You must manifest. Like, so it's all over social media.
Oh my God. Yeah. So again, I don't think it's straight up. It's not like there's this huge return to church and all that. Because when I first saw the headline, I was like, okay, that is really shocking. I did not think Gen Z was that going towards religion. So yeah, it's kind of all encompassing of other spiritual things.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean,
at least Gen Z's got some heart.
They're believing in something.
They got some
I also think
soul.
All that stuff just so appeals to them because they feel so lost.
Okay, so conspiracy theories. Number one, so Super Bowl coming up.
Ugh.
The big conspiracy is that, and I texted you this, but that NFL is a script.
Yes.
Right? And that the games are all scripted, and it's more of a scripted series than it is an actual, like, you know, ad hoc, you know, teams competing against each other.
Right.
So the NFL script has been pushed out for the Super Bowl. This is what it is. And so we're going to
tell me how it's
today,
going to happen.
and then we're going to memorialize it and see if it actually happens.
Today's Tuesday. Super Bowl is Sunday.
Here's the script. So the Chiefs are going to be losing by a huge amount, 2 touchdowns as they go into halftime. Okay. So kind of a big deal for the Chiefs to be losing. Travis Kelce is going to go into the locker room with a significant limp, so it's not going to look good for the Chiefs.
Oh no.
He's going to give a stirring speech that leads the team back, and leads the team back, right? They're going to recoup the 2 touchdowns.
Okay, have a really good third quarter.
Yeah, really good third quarter. They will be down by 4, and Kelce's going to have a massive drive in the last minute or two, and they will win the Super Bowl because of that.
Okay.
Because of that drive, he will get MVP of the game as a result. He will then propose to Taylor Swift.
Oh my God, Ma.
At the end of the game. They will get married the next day, and then he will announce that he's retiring.
The next day they're going to get married?
I mean, that's an action-packed script.
That part I don't believe. You almost had me till the marry the next day. There's no way Taylor Swift's getting married.
Well, the one thing I will say is the conspiracy theorists also suggested that Kelce was going to propose to Taylor last Super Bowl they won.
Everyone thought that.
And he didn't do that. So
that was way too fast. They had barely been dating. I agree. I never thought he was going to propose last Super Bowl.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conspiracy theorists who are saying, here's the script. So we'll see.
That's wild. But I've seen tons of that everyone thinks the NFL is rigged. I was watching the last playoff game, and we've seen it before, and there have been plenty of times where you're like, wow, that call is a bit shocking, you know, because the refs have quite a bit of control. And now that they've really upped the instant replay and more plays are automatically reviewed in the booth, and before you used to like have to challenge a call and whatever, more and more plays are being reviewed. They showed this one that was a huge, what was like a throw and a reception for the Chiefs that put them to like the 5-yard line. The ball so clearly hit the grass as he was falling. Like the announcers even, I think, were having to bite their tongue going, I'm a bit shocked by the ruling, and like the refs were reviewing it. They got to rewatch the footage, and they all went completed pass.
Oh god, that was
And
the
it-
Chiefs.
Yeah, it was last week for the playoffs, and then they of course get a touchdown because it put them to like the 5-yard line, and that everyone was going, this is fake, it's rigged, the Chiefs are supposed to be in the Super Bowl, this is rigged.
Well, and the reason, let's just say, because why care, right? Why do we care that the Chiefs are?
I care a lot. I want real sports. That pisses me off.
No, but I'm saying like, why would we be pushing so hard to have the Chiefs be in the Super Bowl? Like,
yeah.
what is the higher order of push
Yeah.
that's happening? Well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because Taylor's participation and cutting to her when they cut to her has increased viewership, merchandise to the tune of $335 million for the NFL.
Wow.
Just her being there at games
Yeah.
has increased their revenue.
Wow.
So that's why they want. Okay, so conspiracy theory number 2. This is hilarious. It's also like a lighthearted one. Have you heard this? That Lea Michele. Do you know who that is?
Can't read.
Yeah. No, this Instagrammer like broke it all down. Jessica, it's so funny. Okay.
I need to know. I've only heard it in passing. I've never dove into it. Dived.
So Lea Michele, for those that don't know, is the Rachel from Glee.
Yes.
And this has been around for a while. This is not like a new conspiracy theory. So apparently, like, Naya Riviera, who was the cast member of Lea Michele, who died tragically, drowned, she wrote a book, and it had, like, piping hot tea in her book about Lea Michele. But, like, Lea never, like, responded to it or, like, talked about it. So 2 podcasters started this, like, conspiracy that basically, like, she can't read. So she didn't read the book. So she never, like, knew about, like, the gossip.
Oh, my God.
And
I didn't know that's how it started.
Yeah, right? And it basically, like, she grew up doing Broadway, so she, like, never went to school. So, like, it made sense that she just didn't get a chance to read. Okay, but then there's other pieces of evidence, which I find this so funny. So whenever there's a picture of her, like, with her signature, like picture, like, just a photo shoot of, like, Lea Michele with, like, a signature on a blackboard. She's just, like, underlining the signature. She's not, like, writing
doing the letters.
signature herself.
Okay.
When she's at a book signing, because she put out 2 books, she's never actually signing the book. She's just holding her pen above the book.
So it's not just that she can't read, she can't write.
Yeah, right. She holds the pen above the book. She wrote 2 books, which have come out, but one was a journal, so it didn't have any, like, text in it or, like, thoughts in it.
Does that even count? Okay.
And then the second book that she put out was just, like, a bunch of photos and recipes of her. Like, it wasn't, like, an actual, like, storyline. Yeah. Her Instagram posts don't usually have captions. They're just an emoji. and this guy put up, like, it's a lot. That's just an emoji. Like, it'll just be, like, a snowflake.
Yeah.
If there is a caption, people picked up that it's usually written by her assistant, who, like, always has Lea Michele's phone.
Okay.
The Glee cast went on Ellen DeGeneres at one point, and they were playing Cards Against Humanity, and Lea, like, didn't look through any of the cards. She just, like, would pick the top one and, like, play the top one.
It's like she didn't know what they said.
And finally, there's a video of her at the Emmys way back when, and she says the Emmy goes to, and she opens up the thing.
And then hands it to the person.
And she kind of says, like, you
say it.
And then finally, she only works with specific directors because they'll, like, feed her lines, like, orally, like, so she doesn't have to read them. Isn't that funny? That's kind of a lot of evidence, though.
It is a lot stacking up. And how, like, is she waiting for the moment to, like, be like, I'm gonna debunk it, put it up on screen, and I'll live read it, you know, like.
She was on Watch What Happens Live when this was all coming out, and she was like, how dare anybody say that? This is so ridiculous. But she didn't read anything, Jessica.
I mean, Andy does a lot of those games. Like, I wish there was something where it's like, okay, pick a word, the next word you want us to flip over instead of a number, and she would have to say what the word
Isn't
was.
that just, like, hilarious? It's
It
probably not true, but it's just,
no,
like...
I love those just lighthearted, like
conspiracy
let's
theories.
just start a rumor. Or someone is just dying laughing. They're like, I can't believe that took off. I just made up that Lea Michele can't read. And it's, like, still going.
Oh, anyway, super long podcast, but thanks so much, Jessica. We'll lighten the load next week.
Yeah, a few less episodes.
But then Summer House comes out.
Yes, can't wait. That'll be, and now we get to kind of see how Paige is during.
I know.
It's really interesting with the 2 airing at the same time.
Anyway, love you, Jess. Talk to you later.
Love
Bye.
ya. Bye.